My name is Mulhall and I'm the owner of GOT Direwolves. We didn't really believe that it was going to be a big show. I don't think anyone really realised how big Game of Thrones was going to get. So when they asked us to use the dogs in the show, I was like, okay, cool. And they're like, do you want to use them in other TV shows? And I was like, no, one show's just fine. It turns out it's the biggest TV show in the world. My dad had big dogs growing up, so it was like time that I had a big dog. So I got one, I got Odin first, and then 3 days later I was like, I need to get another one, so I got Thor. A couple of weeks after having them, I got a phone call from the breeder and she says that Game of Thrones wants to use them. And I was like, what's this show about? And she said, I don't know, like swords and shields and stuff. And I was like, cool, I'm into that. I didn't know what Game of Thrones was about, so I decided to read the first book to see what they were in for, and it seemed really interesting and really exciting. And then when it came on the TV show and like, you know, Theon Greyjoy's picking up Odin, I'm like, fuck, and I'm like, and he's sat there at my feet, you know? So I'm watching it and he's right there at my feet, and I think that's pretty surreal. Like, after all the years and so on, and like seeing all the merchandise of Direwolves and stuff everywhere, it's still kind of a surreal moment for me whenever I see like my dog as an action figure in a shop. Before all this Game of Thrones stuff kicked off, we were like, me and my brothers, we were lifeguards. We actually lifeguarded on the beach. We used to teach sailing, and I myself studied in England in Cornwall to, you know, become a surfing and rock climbing coach. And then I went off to New Zealand and I lifeguarded out there. And when I came back, then I seen that, you know, there's a real possibility of recreating the Lord of the Rings tours in New Zealand, but the Game of Thrones in Ireland. So that's what we did. We never really thought that this was a thing. And the inspiration from New Zealand, seeing the Lord of the Rings tours and, you know, living so close to all the locations as we do, it just became like an idea. We were just like, we wanted to meet. We started off originally in our own cars, driving around privately tours, and we were like, we needed the real fans, we needed the super fans, people who like freaked out when they were holding like a replica Jon Snow sword, or people who were like really interested in like the dogs or our experience. So we started with this coach company, and we started, you know, hiring the buses and gathering momentum. And this time last year, we didn't have a tour. This time, now we've had major names come on our tour, and we've had thousands and thousands of people come on our tour, so we've pretty much snowballed. The first time I did the talk on the tour, whenever I'm chatting to all the tourists, and I was chatting about Game of Thrones and about filming in it, and then I realised that all my words were now echoes, and I was like, there will be no more Game of Thrones, like ever. Like, this is the final season, this is it. And I actually began to choke up. I was like, this is it over. And like the last 8 years of my life have been like a huge thing, and obviously there's going to be big things coming back, but like it was that moment where I was just like, wow, I'm now talking about the past. Before Game of Thrones came to Belfast was pretty popular for two main things, like the Titanic, which unfortunately sank, and also like the Troubles, which, you know, it was a tough time in our period of time here. However, now Game of Thrones has come along, and it's, you know, changed the face of Belfast. It brought in like a lot of crew from outside of Ireland. It also trained up a lot of crew from locals in Ireland. So a lot of people who were like before hairdressers or makeup artists, who would only have who thought that the furthest they could go was having a salon, now they can go a different direction and actually work in the film industry. And now they're having careers that they can like train up other people to be in the film industry as well. So when Game of Thrones came here, they didn't just bring jobs. They also brought an industry, and that industry is continuing to thrive, and they're opening up new studios. There's so much opportunity coming in the future. Everyone can unite behind that, and everyone is looking to brighter days. Yes, we had a dark past, and you definitely should know that, and you should definitely see where it all went wrong. And I think the modern day, younger people are a lot more focused on kind of being happy.